Hello, folks. Shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another wrestling review. And who let you in here? Who
Your
are
mama.
you? I'm about to tell Mama not to leave people in here. Anyway, yeah, as you can see, I'm not alone. I'm joined by my friend of 20 plus years, Mr. Ismail Izzy Lopez.
What's
So,
up?
yep. And if we're a little bit sweaty, it's not because we were doing that thing. No, we were sweaty because it's Sunday, WrestleMania. And as you know in my previous videos, I have not been particularly fond of this WrestleMania because it has probably the shittiest build of any WrestleMania in recent memory. But as my friend TWK of TWK Reviews, a shitty build can often lead to a good Mania. Was this a good one? Now, I have to inform you that Izzy came in a little late. He didn't watch the pre-show or the first two matches, so the first couple of matches are just going to be me, and then when the matches come in, we'll ask him for his opinion. So the pre-show, 2 hours. Two matches got bumped off the main card for this. The first match being a fatal four-way for the WWE Tag Team titles the between Los Matadores with El Torito versus the Usos versus uh, who else was in it? Damn it, I'm blanking on this. Anyways, El Torito. I mean, it's Los Matadores, Masters of the Universe, the retaining champions. Uh, the Usos, and oh, the New Day. The New Day sucks, so excuse me for forgetting them. So this was a fantastic opening matchup because, well, you got some great talent in the ring. Why this was bumped off the main card in favor of that shitty concert, I will never know. But this was a fantastic matchup. Um, he saw little clips of it, and I pointed out my boy Antonio Cesaro.
All right.
You have good opinions of him. We saw some great spots. You saw the six-man Tower of Doom on the replay.
Yes, I'm really glad.
And in the end, the Master of the Universe retained Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. So good for them. Next up, we had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. An event so prestigious that they bumped it to the pre-show. Isn't that nice? So anyway, we had a good crop this year. Curtis Axel, now sporting his Axel Mania t-shirt, was the first to be eliminated. We had some decent spots. Hideo Itami from NXT was involved in the match. He kind of lost. You would like Hideo Itami. He's a Japanese wrestler from New Japan. He got recently signed by Triple H, so he's pretty good. He uses a lot of CM Punk's moves like the GTS, but he didn't use it here. He got eliminated by the Big Show, which sucks. But Elimination Society came down to finally three men: the Big Show, the Miz, and surprisingly the most popular guy in the WWE, Damien Mizdow. Now I gotta inform him of Damien Mizdow because he doesn't watch wrestling as much as I do. So Damien Mizdow was like you know who the Miz is, right?
Right.
Now he hired Damien Sandow to be his stunt double, and when they came out, he would imitate and mirror the Miz's moves. And it got to the point where he was doing it so much that when the Miz was wrestling, he would be outside mimicking his moves as if he were in the ring wrestling. And he got over with the fans. The fans love Mizdow, so much so that they overshadowed the Miz, and so he kind of demoted him from stunt double to personal assistant. So it came down to Mizdow, Miz, and the Big Show. Miz was like, "Hey, you got to help me win this shit because you work for me." So, but then Mizdow decides to, "Hey, fuck this shit. I'm going on my own," and eliminates the Miz. But then he has to face the Big Show. But unfortunately, as much as the fans and myself wanted Mizdow to win, Big Show won. It broke my heart. It broke my fucking heart. I mean, sure, it's a feather in Big Show's cap that he won his first Battle Royal, but I felt that Mizdow should have won that one. This was his year, and he really deserved it. But oh well, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal don't count anyway. So we move on to the main show. First match, ladder match for the Intercontinental title between Dean Ambrose, the Titty Master, Daniel Bryan, the reigning champion Bad News Barrett, R-Truth, Cody Rhodes, now going as Stardust, Luke Harper, formerly of the Wyatt family, and the show-off Dolph Ziggler. This was a fantastic opening matchup between these very diverse talents. Dean Ambrose got powerbombed outside the ring through a ladder, and he lived through that shit. But I'm not going to even spoil a lot of the best spots. If you haven't watched it, what the fuck are you watching this shit for? Pause this shit, turn on the WWE Network, watch it. And in the end, the Yes Movement won. Daniel Bryan won, and you were surprised by his return because you already knew that he had an injury last year. He had to give up his title, so good for him. Next matchup between Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, the Future, the Architect, versus Randy Orton. Now, this was I said on the WrestleCast, this was a very solid match. This is going to be a great match because you got two very good men in the ring with you. And despite the interference of J&J Security, it was a great match, especially the ending. You didn't see the ending because you came in late, so.
I think I came shortly after that.
Yeah, so the ending came when Seth Rollins was going for the curb stomp, and somehow Randy Orton, with his leg on Randy Orton's neck, popped him up into the air, and then caught him with an RKO, which was a very impressive way to show off, you know, Randy Orton being able to pull that fucking move out of nowhere. So Randy Orton picks up the win. Yeah, don't feel too bad about Seth. We'll get to that. Next matchup, the matchup you came in for, the matchup that no one thought to see. Oh, before this, I got to do this. Hey, Emilio!
What's that?
For you, there was a guy on Facebook who said that that last year it was so unlikely that that Sting would actually come to the WWE. That if he did, that he would suck everyone's dick. And as soon as then last year when Sting debuted a Survivor Series, everyone was like, "Hey, Emilio, get to sucking." So anyway, Sting comes out to like these kabuki drummers playing his theme music, and he comes out to the new theme music. Doesn't come out to any of the old WCW music. I don't know why. Then Triple H comes out to the fucking Terminator. He comes out and there's these Terminator skeletons rising up out of the ground. And then out of the center of them, Triple H comes out in this Terminator-like armor and shit. And he had Arnold Schwarzenegger talking through and he said, "Now you are ready. I welcome you." So, Triple H, Sting. Now, you're the guest. What were your thoughts on the match?
I came in, halfway through the match.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good. It surprised me that the crew, what their names? DX came out.
Yeah.
And of course, they had to be someone else coming out right behind them
Yeah.
to even out the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised to see NWO coming out.
Yeah, the classic trio, Hogan, Hall, and Nash.
So it was a good match. I liked it.
I actually enjoyed it myself. I'm glad they made it a no disqualification match, and we knew it was going to be a good match because even though Sting is like in his 50s, he can still work a good match. If you haven't seen none of his work in TNA, well, most of it is good. Just skip that whole Joker Sting where he was pretending to be Heath Ledger Joker and from The Dark Knight. Just skip that sort of thing. And you marked out at one point in that match. For what reason?
Come again?
You marked out for the match. There was somebody who made you got excited for the match.
After the match?
During the match.
During the match.
I know you had a bit to drink, but I know you had a bit to drink. All right.
Say it.
Just when you think you couldn't see anyone else, Sting goes for the Scorpion Death Drop, and out comes old HB Shizzle.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't know, this guy right here is a big HBK mark.
Apparently not, since I forgot he did the kick.
Yeah, with the boots on.
Oh, still those boots.
Yeah, those fucking cowboy boots. But so um, it's getting to the point where the NWO was around in one corner and DX was in another corner, and Sean throws in the sledgehammer, and then NWO throws in the bat. So we have the bat versus the sledgehammer, and you saw what happened, right? When that happened.
Sledgehammer got broken in half.
Exactly. Apparently, the bat is mightier than the sledgehammer. So I think there was some more interference. I'm remembering, not remembering stuff, but in the end, Triple H lost, and
Triple H ain't lose. What are you?
I'm so.
What's in your drink, homie?
I don't know. Did you slip me a roofie? I don't know. Triple H won the match, and there is a beautiful blonde-haired woman named Jennifer who I can predict is going to be very pissed about this because she is a heavy Sting mark, especially a big Scott Hall mark. So to see that happen, she was. I know you're not happy, Jen. I'm sorry, but this was a good match.
I enjoyed it very much.
It was a surprisingly better match than I thought it would be. And at the end, Sting and Triple H, flanked by their respective factions, came in and shook hands and kind of settled it. It was a good match. You may not agree with the ending, but it was still a good match. Next up, a match you kind of enjoyed.
The Divas match.
Yes. Paige, your personal favorite.
Now she is.
Exactly. Teaming up with Mrs. Philip Jack Brooks, aka AJ, against the Bella Twins. You know I don't like the Bella Twins. So I will say now an interesting story. If you haven't heard the WrestleCast live episode, there's a sort of a running bet between the host Matty J and my friend Mattis Lionheart of the Absolution Network, where if the match was passable, then Matty would have to say that Eva Marie is the best wrestler alive. And if you know Eva Marie, she is a terrible, 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 terrible fucking wrestler. But I will say this was a passable match. Not too bad to warrant a piss break, but not good to say it was up there. What did you think?
I was paying more attention to, what than the actual match. I'm sorry.
I can't blame him. But yeah, needless to say, in the end, the right team won as Paige and AJ pick up the win. We have a backstage segment with Daniel Bryan, Brie Bella's husband, who is the new Intercontinental Champion. He was talking backstage, and various other former great Intercontinental Champions came out. First, Pat Patterson, the first Intercontinental Champion. Then Rowdy Piper, Hot Rod, came out and congratulated him. Then Ricky the Dragon Steamboat came out, yes. Then Ric Flair. Can I get a woo? Woo! Yeah, Ric Flair, Nature Boy, came out, congratulated him. Then we had the Excellence of Execution, Bret Hart. And then, of course, with all these legends and all this kind of craziness going on, you can't have it without Mr. Ron Simmons, who gave us that so famous.
Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead and say it. Damn. But it was still an enjoyable backstage segment.
Mm-hmm.
I believe what was next? Was that
the Undertaker?
No, there's that fucking concert, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
That fucking lame ass concert, but I'll tell you how much that concert was lame. I don't know why they spend so much time on these fucking concerts. I didn't know who was singing. He didn't know who was singing. So pull up your phone. Bring up your phone. So show him the phone. He actually had Siri listen to the lyrics of the song, and Siri's like, I can't identify that shit. She didn't say that. I wish she said it, but she didn't say all that shit. So, but yeah, these concert segments don't really need to be here. So, next up was the of course Hall of Fame induction class, Hall of Fame class of 2015. Showcase all the Hall of Famers, which included Rikishi, the living legend Larry Zbyszko, Tatsumi Fujinami, creator of the Dragon Suplex, the Bushwhackers. Who else? I hope I'm not missing nobody. Shoot. Yes, the first recipient of the Warrior Award, the first fan to ever go into the Hall of Fame, Mr. Connor the Crusher McCulloch, who dove into our hearts last year. I love that little boy. I have never met him, but I still love him like my own because he was such a trooper. The WWE staff loved him. Daniel Bryan loved him. Stephanie McMahon particularly loved him. When she talked about him, she barely could keep a straight face. And there was an interesting moment last year where they had all the talent in the ring, and Connor was in the ring, and they were having a mock wrestling match with Triple H. And Triple H was like, "Come on, kid, hit me. Come on, hit me." And Connor was like, "I don't want to hit you." Not because he was shy, but because Connor has such good charisma for a 10-year-old boy with cancer that the way he said it was almost like, "If I hit you, I'm going to fuck you up." And so he hits, Triple H knocks him out. He gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, and Triple H hugged him. And the first person that Daniel Bryan hugged when he won his world title was Connor. So if you hate Connor, then you fucking suck at life. So, and Kevin Nash is in the Hall of Fame this year. Arnold Schwarzenegger is in this year, and of course the one man everyone wanted to be in the Hall of Fame, Mr. Randall James Poffo, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. So, what did you think of this year's class?
Good. I still don't understand why Arnold was in the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm clueless on that one.
Yeah, because he punched Triple H in that one episode of SmackDown. It was back when we was in high school, so that was a long time ago. So up next was the U.S. title on the line. John Cena taking on defending champion Rusev, and Rusev came out with a very impressive entrance.
Oh, it reminded me of Rocky IV.
Exactly. He came out. It was just like Rocky IV because they had the whole Russian national anthem, the whole honor guard coming out, goose stepping and shit. And there's one part you really liked.
Is it the one with the tank or is it the one with the white dress?
Both.
Okay.
So you like the white dress on Lana?
Yeah.
The white dress was awesome on Lana. So, but yeah, Rusev came out in a fucking tank. That's awesome. So Cena comes out to a typical pro-American, America, Ronald Reagan, apple pie, and jelly beans, and all that kind of good shit. This was a very good match. Not as good as their one they had at Fastlane, but it was still pretty good. What did you think?
Yeah, enjoyable.
Hmm.
I mean, I can't say nothing bad about it.
That's true. Yeah, it was a good match. But of course, anyone who was watching the dirt sheets know that this was Cena's time to win, so Cena won.
Hold on. Back up. Reverse.
All right.
Before that match, wasn't there a section where someone special came out?
That's coming up. It came after this.
Ah, okay.
It came after this. So, Cena's the new U.S. champion. After this, the Admiral, fresh off his win from Sting, with his wife, Sexy Power. I could do a whole video just talking about Stephanie McMahon.
Do it.
I should do that. Just talking about Stephanie McMahon. And Triple H did not marry her for her money. He married her because she was hot. So yeah, they were talking some shit about how there would be no WWE or nothing without them. You called it.
I called it. I smelled it.
He smelled it. So out comes, fresh from his amazingly funny host duties on Saturday Night Live,
which I still have to see. I might have to
Indeed.
watch it on Hulu or something.
Yeah, watch it on Hulu. You do it.
I can't do it. You do it.
No, you got to introduce who was it. Who was it? You got to do this.
No other than the People's Champ, the great one, The Rock.
Yes. So Rock comes out. He's doing his usual Rock thing, and Stephanie is in his face and pretty much talks him down.
At one point, I was surprised Rock actually got out of the ring and started walking.
Yeah, and he comes across this woman, really hot woman, wearing a Vegeta over 9,000 T-shirt, and he waves her into the ring, and it turns out it's Ronda Rousey, a UFC mixed martial arts champion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, common sense would tell you, Steph, that while you're decent in the ring, you should not be fighting a woman who is essentially the female equivalent of Ken Shamrock. So words were exchanged. Rock opens up on Triple H, beats the crap out of him. Then this lady does an arm drag takedown of Triple H, takes him out of the ring. Then Steph decides to do her $1 billion slap, which really does not work on a woman who could bend you, who could probably submit you in about 100 different ways from Sunday. And just beats the crap out of her, and the two of them stand tall in the ring. What did you think? I already know what you think. Just say it.
It was a great WrestleMania event moment.
Yes, it was a good moment.
It was a good moment.
Yeah. Next up, Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. This is the first time we've seen The Undertaker since the streak ended last year at last year's Mania. And of course, Bray Wyatt has been calling him out since Royal Rumble. So this was a very intense moment. What did you think of the match?
Actually, it's pretty interesting. I mean, both did their signature moves.
Mm-hmm.
Wyatt did his what was it, a crab walk?
His crab walk, yeah.
His crab walk. And what's funny was that Undertaker actually stood up. His little signature stand-up thing freaked him out, and I think that's what actually won the match.
There you go. That's from the Latino perspective. So, yeah. So in the end, Undertaker's now 22-1. It just goes to show you that like I've said before, the Undertaker streak does not define his legacy. It's just a part of it. So yeah, it was a pretty good match. It was better than Brock versus Undertaker, which is not their fault because Undertaker had a concussion during that match. But this was a good match. It's up there with probably one of the Undertaker's better matches. Not the best match, but it's still pretty good. And now, the main event. Roman Reigns, the man no one believed in, versus the one-man crime spree, the killer of hope, the destroyer of worlds, the breaker of dreams, the nature's perfect predator, the walking genocide, the living death sentence, the human disaster, he who is above God's Brock Lesnar. What did you think of the opening of the first 10-20 minutes of this match?
I didn't think Roman was going to survive at least a minute or two with this guy. I've seen this guy destroy many opponents.
And what did you think of his performance tonight?
Whose? Brock's?
Brock's.
Brock's. He still came out and did what he was supposed to do.
He hurt him.
He hurt him bad.
I mean, how many suplexes did we get up to?
10, 11 maybe?
10, 11 suplexes, 3 F5s, a bunch of slaps to the face. And this is the reason why I never believed Roman Reigns for a second, because he wasn't here for the push, but his push did not show him off to be a beast comparable to Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar showed tonight that why he's the most dominant man in the WWE. We need to call SVU, call Ice-T or somebody, because we were seeing a rape on screen. So at one point they were outside and Brock gets pushed into the ring post and he gets cut open bad. which is rare to see on WWE television nowadays. And it seemed like he has a chance. Now, um, Roman was trying to do everything in his power. He was hitting him with Superman punches, spears, what have you. What did you think about that?
Well, that wouldn't stop Brock Lesnar.
True.
That wouldn't stop him at all.
True. So it gets to the point where it looks like anybody could win. Then we hear some theme music. Seth Rollins, Mr. Money in the Bank. If anyone saw this coming with him losing to Randy Orton, we saw this coming. So he gets in the ring and he cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase, making it a triple threat. So anyway, I gotta get you. What do you think of Seth Rollins? I mean, you've only seen him like a couple of times with the Shield.
No comment.
No.
I can't judge it, his appearance, because I rarely seen him wrestle, so no comment.
Smart. So as for me, he's a heel, but this should tell you who's more over when Seth Rollins, probably the biggest heel in the company after Brock Lesnar, gets cheered while Roman Reigns, the supposed next Cena, gets booed like nobody's business. So it's a triple threat match. Reigns and Brock are completely spent. They have beaten the hell out of each other. Brock is a bloody mess. Roman's insides are probably feel like shattered glass in balloons and shit. And and Rollins hits a curb stomp. And at one point, he gets caught in an F5, but then Reigns spears him. And it looks like Reigns is going to get the win, but then Rollins picks the bones, gets a curb stomp on him, throws him out of the ring, and picks up the pin 1, 2, 3 on Reigns. I think he picked up the win on Reigns because he threw Brock out of the ring because he wasn't fucking pinning Brock.
Well, I got to tell you this: if Brock would have gotten that F5, was it an F5 or a suplex?
It was an F5.
If we would have completed an F5, he would not have the title now.
I would believe that. So 1, 2, 3. The Architect, the future of the WWE, Seth Rollins, is your new undisputed WWE Heavyweight Champion, and the fans could not be happier. You saw me when he got pinned. You saw what I was doing.
Jumped up for joy.
I ran around here like my hair was on fucking fire. So yeah, got a new champion, and the best part about it is to not make Brock Lesnar look weak because he did not get pinned. Roman Reigns got pinned. So this was probably the best thing they could do in this situation since they know how negatively Roman Reigns was being received by the fans.
Yes, but now you got Brock getting his rematch tomorrow night.
Possibly. He could get it at Extreme Rules. Yeah. But yeah, that's WrestleMania. Before I give my thoughts, I want to give my guest. What did you think of WrestleMania, the parts that you did see as a whole?
I'll say this. So many years not watching wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I stopped when Stone Cold, The Rock, Mick Foley, all them left.
Mm.
I stopped watching it.
Right.
And I've seen it here and there. But this WrestleMania brought me back home. It did.
So, how many stars out of 5 would you give it?
I'll give it a 4. Give it a 4.
4 out of 5?
4 out of 5.
Me, I'd give it a 3.5 stars out of 5. I would give him a 4, but he hasn't been watching it, and I've been watching it, and this build has just been shitty since the Rumble, and I almost skipped this. This WrestleMania. If you're on my Facebook, you know I was deeply considering skipping this WrestleMania until last Monday kind of brought me back. And I'm kind of glad that I did. This was a lot better than I thought it would be. The match, I want to say the weakest match out of the whole card was the Divas match. And not the bad, it was not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It just wasn't as good as the other ones were. And the other ones were pretty good. And I like the I like the ending for the the world title event because it gives it opens up a lot more options. It gives the fans what they want. It makes them go home happy without them just totally shitting on the event, which is good in my favor. I was scared that we're going to shit on this event because, but the big test is going to be tomorrow night because, as you know, crowds on the night after WrestleMania are always crazy. So we'll see. I might not be able to watch it because tomorrow night I have a sit down crossover review with my friend Mattis Lionheart. We're going to review WrestleMania 22 for his show CMG Reviews. You can find that on the Absolution Network along with my show, if you want to call it a show. So there's that. So thank you for watching. I want to thank my friend Mr. Ismail Lopez for joining me.
Izzy, peace.
Yes. So if you like what you see, link, comment, subscribe below. You got any questions or comments? Leave them in the comments. I'll answer them as best as I can. So until the next time, this is shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, and
Izzy,
saying good night. And you got fucked up, Roman Reigns.